Part 94. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 933. Wu Qing and Tai Xiao are waiting outside for Leng Shui and Zui Ming to give the signal. They can cooperate inside and outside at any time. Lu Feng, as the head coach, is in charge of the Chinese army. The two common people were also very worried. They led people into the east gate of the county shivering, but as they said before, the Japanese pirates did not check the entry and exit of these foods at all. So they brought a well-equipped army into the city without encountering any obstruction, and the city was brightly lit that night. This group of Japanese pirates would be very indulgent every time they arrived at night, doing everything from eating, drinking, prostitution, and gambling. But it is precisely because of this habit that they give life-seeking and cold-blooded people a more secure opportunity to signal without having to worry about being noticed in advance. When the moon gradually climbed up, Zui Ming finally made a move, quietly ran out of the carriage, took out the fire stick in his hand, lit the fireworks, and released the signal light into the sky. When the fireworks bloomed in the sky, the Japanese pirates also looked up at the sky in confusion. They didn't know who else would set off fireworks so late. The Ming army, which had been waiting outside for a long time, immediately launched an attack after seeing the signal. Suddenly there were shouts of killing and the smoke of war filled the air all around. Some lower-level Japanese pirates staggered to where their boss was. Their boss was a bald warrior with a long scar on his face. "Boss Nomura. Oh no. The Ming dynasty's army came to us. We don't know when they appeared. We didn't get the news in advance. Run away quickly. We can't defeat those people." Faced with the reports from his subordinates, Nomura was not in a hurry. Immediately pass the order and tell all the brothers below to follow the previous training and escape from the secret passage. Don't give those people a chance to catch our own people. When leaving, remember to set fire and burn everything that can be burned. The reason why they are not in a hurry is because they have already had corresponding training. From the beginning, they had no intention of fighting with the Ming dynasty army. The strategy they originally implemented was to run away in all directions like guerrilla warfare. After so many years in this county, many secret passages have been built long ago, and these secret passages were provided for Japanese pirates to escape, allowing them to run to other places to continue their escape. They had no intention of giving up this important transportation hub to the people of the Ming dynasty at the beginning. They just hope that their troops can be concentrated and fight back later. Anyway, in their consciousness, the Ming dynasty army is very weak, so they can fight if they want. The Japanese pirates, who have long been accustomed to this combat strategy, are exploring the Ming dynasty army outside the city to fight. As he came over, he ran towards the secret passage that he had already passed through proficiently. Zui Ming realized in time that something was wrong with these people, and led his men to ambush these people. Leng Xiu was also an action man, and when he saw Zui Ming's action he quickly understood what was going on, and he also led a team of people to chase the Japanese pirates who wanted to escape. These Japanese pirates fled in all directions, but because of their cold-blooded and quick life-seeking actions, they also lost a lot of money in a short period of time. There are only a few people. However, the base of more than 5,000 people is too large. There is no way to attack them all. We can only let most of them escape, and then find ways to ambush them. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 934. Although these Japanese pirates have good ideas, Lu Feng is a person who has traveled through modern society after all, and he has already expected that these Japanese pirates will definitely run away. In this era, these Japanese pirates had no other ability to escape, but each one was stronger than the last. Lu Feng had already prepared to have people control each major entrance when he was outside the city. The people in charge at various places have bows and arrows in their hands, and the arrows of these bows and arrows have been coated with kerosene. They only need a little fire to turn them into rockets. The armors worn by the Japanese pirates were basically made of bamboo. They, Fuzu, were just an island country and had no resources at all, allowing them to smelt iron and cast armor. If the conditions are better, you can still use the rattan armor that has been soaked for many years, but this is just like the Three Kingdoms period, when the rattan armor army is burned out. Those Japanese pirates who originally thought they had escaped had no idea that someone had been waiting outside for a long time. After the arrows were released, the fire burned them all, and the people who escaped were burned alive. For a while, no Japanese pirates could break through this encirclement. The life-seeking and cold-blooded people in the city also went crazy. When they saw the Japanese pirates, they cut them down with their swords, decisively and resolutely. Another team that had been arranged long ago was responsible for evacuating the masses and taking ordinary people to other places to protect them from the torment of the war. After these people were taken away, the battlefield was fought without boundaries. Everyone seemed to be crazy, killing enemies who did not belong to their side. But as the fire outside the city burned, chasing life and Leng Xiu quickly calmed down. They knew that their mission had been accomplished and they must leave the county immediately. When the fire completely surrounds the entire county, they will be burned alive by the fire. They must escape now, otherwise it will be too late. Fortunately, a road had been reserved for a long time, and the Japanese pirates had noticed this road. They wanted to escape through this, but Lu Feng didn't give them a chance at all and let Tai Xiao personally guard this retreat. The iron hand was so strong that the Japanese pirates had no way to get close to him. He punched a child, and soon, the Japanese pirates who wanted to escape through this road were beaten to death by him. The war finally ended half an hour later, and the faces of the four famous arrestos were covered with traces of black smoke. The fire spread throughout the county, and the raging fire brought black smoke. The smoke flowed on people's faces, almost holding back tears. Although this county has been burned down, which is a pity, the good news is that the Japanese pirates have finally been completely eliminated. From now on, as long as the people continue to live here, sooner or later the place will return to its previous appearance. The people who were rescued were very excited when they saw the soldiers cleaning up the battlefield. Those who still had the strength took the initiative to join the team cleaning up the battlefield. They are all very grateful to Lu Feng for leading the army to rescue them from the dire straits. Now helping to clean up the battlefield is nothing at all. After all, they will still live in this place in the future and welcome a better future here. The only thing we need to worry about now is whether other Japanese pirates will send troops out immediately. When we came to this county for rescue, we had to know that if the nearest Japanese pirates sent troops, it would only be 2 hours away. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 935. These Japanese pirates have always maintained long-term contact in order to support their teammates at critical moments. They all know that they have very few people. If they do not unite, they will have no way to fight against the regular army. The battlefield has been tidied up. Our people did not suffer any major casualties. We only suffered a dozen casualties and were slightly injured. Most of the more than 30 people were injured because of the heavy fire. We can continue to fight at any time. An hour later, the Japanese reinforcements had not yet arrived, and the scouts sent out to inquire about the situation had not reported any relevant information. Leng Xiu had already cleaned up the battlefield and informed Lu Feng of the final result. We haven't seen any reinforcements coming from the Japanese pirates yet, but we can't take it lightly. This is a plane. If the opponent comes on horseback, it will easily cause an impact on us. We order everyone to withdraw from the plane immediately and arrive at the south as mentioned before. The foot of Xiangshan Mountain. Lu Feng touched his chin. Since the main transportation hub has been completely destroyed, there is no need to stay here and move on to the next step quickly. Nangxiang Mountain is a very important place, with tree crowns and jagged rocks. There are many shelters when marching and fighting. You can fight guerrilla warfare here. Moreover, the resources here are rich, and you can replenish supplies through hunting at any time. This is also a very important strategic location, and many Japanese pirates will use this place to support their companions. That is to say, if there are reinforcements coming and going, this is a must-go place, and you can conduct an ambush battle if you get here in advance. There are also many ordinary people living in this place, but most of them are tiger hunters and make a living by hunting, so they were also very surprised when they saw so many Ming troops appearing. You must know that only Orions usually live in this place for a long time, and soldiers will not come here at all. The court does not care about it, and only Japanese pirates occasionally come here to cause trouble. Facing the highly skilled hunters, the Japanese pirates did not dare to commit trouble casually. They just passed by every time. Now it seemed that these troops were going to be stationed here, and the hunters were very excited. Are you really from the imperial court? Have you decided to attack the Japanese pirates? Or are you just passing by? We, the common people, have been suffering for many years. Are you here to save us? The hunters really hope that these people are really here to save them, but they are also afraid that their expectations again and again will eventually come to nothing and turn into disappointment. Everyone, please rest assured that we are here to drive away all the Japanese pirates. If you know the relevant information about the Japanese pirates, you can tell us. This will be very helpful for our next war. The four famous hunters came forward in person and used their popularity among the people to appease these hunters. Although they were reassured, they also hoped to get more accurate information from these hunters. Knowing that these hunters were all locals, they knew about the local situation. They have a very good understanding of the situation and the terrain of the entire mountain. If we can get it from them, more detailed information will be very helpful in fighting the war. No problem, no matter what the adults want to know, we will definitely tell you everything. If you want to know where the Japanese pirates are nearby, just walk 4 miles north and there will be a team of Japanese pirates on the move. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 936. As expected, these hunters knew very well which Japanese pirates were nearby, and even knew where the unsociable Japanese pirates were. These Japanese pirates are not all monolithic. Some of them are not gregarious and can only wander around alone, and such a team is also the most difficult to catch. Thinking that today I unexpectedly learned the news about the wandering Japanese pirates from the mouths of these hunters. But now that he knew the news, it was obvious that he could not let go of the wandering Japanese pirates. Lu Feng sent a chase to immediately pursue the wandering Japanese pirates and catch them all without letting go of any of them. 1,000-mile embankment collapsed in an ant nest. Never underestimate these pirates. They might stab you in the back at any time. Lu Feng thought that he would deal with these people first, and then concentrate his forces to deal with them. The remaining people would be relatively more convenient, and there would be no surprise soldiers to attack suddenly. Although these Japanese pirates are wandering Japanese pirates, no one can guarantee that they will not help their own people when their own people are harmed. After receiving the order, he went to hunt down the wandering Japanese pirates. With his speed, it was easy to catch up with those people. In less than a cup of tea, Zui Ming came back with dozens of bloody ears in his hand. These dozens of ears were cut off from the Japanese pirates to prove what he had just done. The hunters who had been following Lu Feng were shocked. They never expected that they could kill dozens of people after chasing one person out. It seemed that none of the Japanese pirates escaped. However, it was precisely because of this move that the hunters believed that the imperial court was serious this time. Otherwise, how could they kill so many Japanese pirates? They were very excited and took Lu Feng to introduce them to the nearby terrain, so that they could have a clearer idea of a euro which Japanese pirates were around and could arrange their troops more quickly. During this period, the Ming dynasty had developed firecrackers. These firecrackers were official equipment that the Japanese pirates could not obtain, so Lu Feng had people prepare one for each person early on. Before arriving at the first position with tens of thousands of Japanese pirates, Lu Feng sent his troops to go around from behind and surround the entire camp. The first reaction of the Japanese pirates was to rush out and shout to kill. They thought they were physically capable of winning, so they wanted to have a showdown with Lu Feng's team after they rushed out. The funny thing is that they were knocked down before they could even get in front of each other. The power of firecrackers is just worse than modern technology. You can only fire one shot at a time, and you have to wait for one round after firing one shot, so you usually form a team of 3 and take turns firing. Those Japanese pirates had no ability to resist under the attack of fire guns. Before they even got close, they were all beaten down. More than half of the team of several thousand people were killed or injured in the blink of an eye. The remaining tens of thousands of Japanese pirates did not come out. They huddled in the camp and did not dare to show their heads. No one would be stupid enough to fight with the firecrackers. They had no long-range weapons in their hands, they were hiding with pale faces, and their eyes were full of fear of death. Now they are bound to lose. This is a technological victory. Lu Feng firmly seized the opportunity and issued military orders to Tai Xiao and others who had gone around to the back, asking them to make a surprise attack from the rear, forcing the Japanese pirates to have nowhere to escape and had to disperse. The Japanese pirates did not expect that there was a team from the Ming dynasty behind them. They were caught off guard and were frightened and ran away in all directions without any discipline. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 937. These Japanese pirates screamed and ran away, and the brave ones could even think of rushing out with all their strength, determined to fight to the death with the Ming army, and at worst, they would die together. But the gunfire didn't give them a chance at all. One shot to the head was relatively light. Most of them were hit in the chest or hands and feet, and fell to the ground halfway through. After one round of cannon fire, these Japanese pirates became sieves, and those who fell to the ground were suppressed by new corpses, making it impossible to get up again. When everything was over, the infantry team behind them took the weapons in their hands and stabbed them without mercy. This is to prevent those Japanese pirates who want to fish in troubled waters from escaping. Some Japanese pirates who are not fatally wounded will pretend to be dead under the corpse and get up again after the enemy leaves. So Lu Feng ordered that everyone should be stabbed. There was no need for inspection. If the head was not broken, everyone should be stabbed in the head. In this way, all the Japanese pirates can be killed directly and quickly without wasting time checking who is dead and who is not. Those Japanese pirates who were lucky enough could only accept their fate. The hunters who came with Lu Feng's army were also very excited. They had been bullied for many years. Those Japanese pirates were not human beings and bullied the people. Many hunters went out and disappeared when they came back home. These Japanese pirates were very cunning and deliberately set foot in the area in advance. When the hunters went out to hunt, they led others into their homes and attacked the defenseless women and children. Many hunters hate Japanese pirates deeply. They took the initiative to join the team, with angry eyes and full of energy. Reporting back to the marshal, all the Japanese pirates have been killed, and no one alive has been found in the entire camp. We have won a great victory this time, but we have used a lot of gunpowder. If we continue to fight, we may need to report to the surrounding officials. Ask for gunpowder. After taking inventory after the war, Zhu Ming believed that the war was won easily, but this was because it relied on the weapons in his hands. If there was a shortage of weapons in his hands, it was still unclear whether he could win so easily this time. So he suggested it is better to lead the team to the surrounding government offices immediately and collect gunpowder from the government offices to avoid unnecessary casualties due to insufficient weapons in the next war. Very good, I'll leave this matter to you. Get the gunpowder as soon as possible. There are still 5 Japanese pirate camps around, and I need to take them all down. Lu Fen nodded. He originally planned to use the musket in his hand to knock down all the opponents. This would ensure that the army in his hand would still be able to fight again after he left. But he didn't want Ming Dynasty to do well. After he left, something suddenly happened. Zui Ming immediately went down to do something. Then Lu Fen led his army to eliminate 1 camp a day, and soon killed all the Japanese pirates who entered the Ming Dynasty. The news was spread back to the capital. At that time, everyone was extremely shocked. No one in the civil and military circles of the dynasty dared to say no to Lu Fen. Many people said that Lu Fen was the reincarnation of the god of death, so he could win every battle. The emperor was even more happy, immediately issued an imperial edict to let everyone in the world know that from now on, Lu Fen is the prince with a different surname in the Ming dynasty. Everyone must respect him, and the soldiers and horses in the world are used by him alone. The Ming dynasty has been established to this day. There is no prince with a different surname, which is explosive news for everyone in the world. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 938. This news may be happy to others, thanks to the smoke coming out of their ancestral graves, but for Lu Fen, he doesn't care at all. In his native world, he is the emperor. How could he care about the throne given to him by others? His indifferent attitude made the 4 famous catchers admire him very much. This is a true celebrity, a great person who does not care about the so-called fame and fortune, but only has an innocent heart. It didn't take long for the 4 famous arrests to spread the news, attracting the admiration of people all over the world. This made Lu Fen feel speechless. He just didn't care about this thing. How could it become everyone in the world when it reached other people's mouths? What about being a model? But no matter what happened, the next thing he had to do was to eliminate the entire Fuzu to prevent some things from getting worse. Although the task in hand has been completed, he is not in a hurry to go back, but continues the expedition to Fuzhang with his army. These people will bring trouble to the world in the future. He does not want a group of people who do not belong to them to appear on the land of China in the future. This man would cause harm to his fellow man. So he planned to nip this damage in the bud. Let all the troops under your command prepare firecrackers, and prepare moisture-proof measures to avoid the firecrackers becoming damp and unable to be used on the way to Fuzu by boat. And how could those people from Fuzhang have ever seen what a fire gun is? Their first reaction when they saw the arrival of the Ming army was to fight back, but they only had the proud samurai swords in their hands and no other weapons. Even if some people fired their bows and arrows, it would be impossible for the Ming fleet to defeat them in a row. There is no way to prevent it. The Ming dynasty's fleet was like a monolithic armored ship. It is very hard. Even if you slash with all your strength with a samurai sword, you can only cut a white mark, and even an iron plate cannot be cut through. In Fuzu, metal is a scarce resource, so what they have is very backward, and there is no way to fight against the Ming dynasty's fleet. The Ming army didn't even get off the boat, so they stood on the boat and fired arrows and fired firecrackers. These Fuzu people were beaten to the point where they were unable to fight back. In less than an hour, there was no one alive on the shore. All the Fuzu people fell to the ground, and their blood soaked into the sea and stained the sea surface red. The Ming army saw that there were no living people on the shore, so they disembarked at this time. Everyone gathered into dozens of squares, and the firecrackers in their hands were prepared early. There were other people behind them who were responsible for carrying gunpowder and following enter. From the beginning, They had no intention of talking slowly with the Fuzu people. They just called without saying a word and wanted to wipe out all the people here without leaving a single person alive. Of course, Lu Feng issued this order. He just wants to kill everyone in Fuzu, so as to avoid what will happen in the future and avoid the disaster that his compatriots will suffer. The people on this island country do not deserve to live at all. If they are killed, it is only because they are not worthy and have no qualifications to continue living in this world. For the Ming army, military orders are like mountains. They only need to obey the orders and don't need to think about anything else. So seeing the bloody storm in front of them, they continue to move forward unwaveringly, whether they are babies or babies. The women's screams could not stop them. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 939. After all the people on Fuzu Island were killed, the Ming army was still patrolling around. It took a full month before it was finally confirmed that there were no more indigenous residents on the island. After confirming that there were no other aid residents on the island, they abandoned the island with no intention of settling on it. As people from the Ming dynasty, they certainly would not waste time in this boring place, not to mention that this island country is lacking in resources and there is no point in staying. However, this island country still has a very good place. Lu Feng issued a brand new order, asking his men to go to Fuzu Island country once a year, but only to plant cherry blossoms. Going there once a year is to ensure that the cherry blossoms can grow normally and vigorously. From then on, the Fuzu Island country can become a satellite country of the Ming dynasty. When you want to see the beautiful scenery of cherry blossoms, you can watch it on this island country. Very romantic. However, after Lu Feng arranged these things, he took the four famous arestas into the job transfer hall and returned. For him, there is nothing to miss in these worlds. He might as well go back and have fun with his beloved concubines. Although he is not a foolish emperor, he does not want to neglect his harem. He does tasks every day and has no one to take care of his harem. That is not a good thing. He is the emperor, so of course he must enjoy it. Of course, the time he enjoyed seemed to have been exhausted by the system. In less than 3 months, the system released a new mission again, but this time after playing for 3 months, Lu Feng didn't have much opinion. The new mission is in the world of Fenjian, but as before, Lu Feng was not told under what circumstances he would enter the world of Fenjian. The tasks in this world are relatively simple. The first thing is to unify the world and make yourself the same as the leader of the martial arts world. Everyone bows to them and has the same purpose of unifying the world. The only difference should be the difference in quality. If it is to unify the world, the unification of ordinary people only requires the deterrence of force, but for people in the world, force alone is not enough. You must be both civil and military, and you must suppress everyone in the world in all aspects, so that everyone in the world knows that you are the strongest. Otherwise, if you show weakness, you will never have the chance to become the leader of the martial arts alliance. However, there are too many masters in the arena. Just in case, Lu Feng decided to take 2 generals around him, and another 100 dragon soldiers to avoid some accidents. Let yourself have a large number of people at your disposal. If he wants to permanently deter the opponent, the people around him must not be weak in force. Although the people around him have high force, the most powerful ones are Lu Buletin and Ma Chao. Among men, Lu Buletin is better than a horse, so the power of Lu Buletin goes without saying. As for Ma Chao, not everyone can bear the nickname of Jin Ma Chao. It's just that the brilliance of other people is too shining, making people forget that Ma Chao was originally a warrior. If he didn't surrender on his own initiative, no one could beat him. After selecting the candidates, Lu Feng entered the world of Fenjian through the job transfer hall. Since he was already familiar with the script, all he needed to think about now was how to complete the task. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong wine burns the heart. Chapter 940. Since you want to unify the world, then in the world of Fenjiun, sect is a good way. In this age of the jungle, almost everyone will be divided into gangs. If you want to fight alone, it will be much more difficult. At that time, it is very likely that one person will resist hundreds or even thousands of people from the entire sect. So in order to unify the world, the first thing Lu Feng had to do was to form a gang. It was impossible for other gangs to join, and Lu Feng would never choose to do so, so after coming to Fenjiun's world, he immediately found a piece of land and a house. But you have to be careful when choosing this place. Since it is a sect, the first and most important thing must be style. Not only that, but also consider how difficult it would be to attack and defend if a battle breaks out between sects. Therefore, when choosing this land, you must also consider the terrain. Some places are naturally easy to defend and difficult to attack, but other places are easy to be captured. Lu Feng will definitely choose the former. The first choice target is definitely a house built on the mountain. Although this place was originally intended for residence, it could still be used as a sect location with minor modifications. As for the modification work, it must be left to Long Liuzhu. In less than 2 days, the entire venue had taken shape, and in another day, the entire sect was fully established. The name of the sect is relatively casual, just called Longwu sect. Anyway, the name is not important. The most important thing is to achieve the purpose of unifying the world through this gang. The other things don't matter at all and don't need to care too much. Next, what needs to be done is definitely to make Longwu men famous in the world. Only in this way can we attract the attention of others, attract others, and then start a confrontation between the various sections. As long as all the sects and everyone can be defeated and they surrender to Longwu men, the task can be completed. It's just that it's easy to say, but it takes a lot of boys to do it. It may not be that simple to make Longwu men famous. After thinking about it for a long time, Lu Feng felt that the simplest and most straightforward way was to recruit disciples. Only by gradually making the sect stronger and recruiting more troops can the sect become more and more famous in the world and be known to more and more people. As long as you can build your reputation, the rest is basically within your grasp. At present, apart from Lu Feng, there are only Lu Buletin, Ma Chao, and 100 Longwu soldiers in the sect. Just this little bit is definitely not enough. So after settling everything in the sect, Lu Feng immediately arranged for Lu Buletin and Ma Chao to recruit troops. And only the two of them go, the effect will be the best. If other dragon warriors are allowed to go, the effect will be unsatisfactory. Lu Buletin and Ma Chao are two very powerful people. They can attract a lot of people just by showing off in the downtown area. Only in this way can they attract people to join the gang. Whether it is a strong person or a slightly weaker person, they will definitely want to be with a strong person. Because strong people can compete against each other, continue to hone their skills and become good opponents. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 941. For those who are slightly weaker, being with stronger people can be of great help in improving their strength. So no matter which one it is, in this era of the jungle, everyone wants to be friends with strong people. Even if they are not martial arts practitioners, they still hope to have 3 or 5 friends who can protect them. Lu Buletin and Ma Chao followed the instructions and came to the downtown area. Seeing so many street performers on the street, I decided to set up a stall here just like them. He took out the pen, ink, paper, and inkstone that he had prepared earlier, and after writing down the information about the sect's recruitment of disciples, he immediately set up the stage at the scene. Lu Buletin and Ma Chao had never done anything like this before, this was their first time. You know, before this, both of them were the most popular, and they were both the ones who were robbed, let alone now they were going out to actively recruit troops. After the stage was set up, due to the large flow of people at the scene, there were already many problems, so before the two of them could speak, a lot of people had already been attracted. Everyone has taken a fancy to the brand, but they are talking about it. What kind of gang is this Longwu men? I seem to have never heard of it. I've never heard of this gang, it's probably just an ordinary little gang. It must be a small gang. How could those famous sects do such a thing of recruiting troops? That is, the big sects don't a Euro trademark T need to do this at all, and many people will stick to it. This looks like a new sect that has just been established. I'm afraid it is specifically designed to deceive people. Please be careful. Nowadays, the woods are big and there are all kinds of birds. There are actually sects recruiting disciples posted in the downtown area. ETA Euro trademark S ridiculous. In all my life, this is the first time I a Euro trademark VE seen such a sect do this. ETA Euro trademark S really fun. I don't a Euro trademark T know which ignorant young man did such a ridiculous thing. A Euro a Euro a Euro a Euro. Although many people at the scene have noticed this, they don't seem to be interested in the sect's recruitment of disciples, and they are not optimistic about it. Faced with many doubts, Lu Buletin and Ma Chao immediately stood up. Since everyone thinks we are a small faction, why not compete with us to see who is the real weak one? Lu Buletin is a man with a bad temper, and he possesses special skills that will never be tainted by anyone. Ma Chao also shouted, those who don't accept it will come up and fight. Only if we win can we be qualified to speak out. Most of the people at the scene are passionate men, and regardless of their intensity, they all have some background in martial arts. As soon as they heard that Ma Chao and Lu Buletin were so arrogant, their fighting spirit was instantly aroused. Suddenly, all of a sudden, a lot of people came onto the stage. These people looked like they had practiced martial arts and had a foundation in martial arts. But even so, Lu Buletin and Ma Chao were definitely not afraid. Since everyone had already come up, the two of them discussed it. Decided to let Lu Buletin take action. Stepping forward, Lu Buletin said to a few big and powerful men, you all come together to prepare the weapons for me. After finishing speaking, Fang Tian's painted halberd was taken out and placed in front of everyone. Many people at the scene did not expect that the other party used this kind of weapon. Three Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 942. Lu Buletin's Fang Tian painted halberd is much larger and bulkier than ordinary weapons. If you are not a strong person, you simply cannot afford to lose this weapon. So when Fang Tian's painted halberd was displayed in front of everyone present seemed to have begun to have some changes in their hearts. For the other party to be able to use such a large level weapon with such confidence, he must be someone with a certain level of strength. Otherwise, he would not show such confidence at all. However, there are still people at the scene who can a Euro trademark T stand it. I think you are overconfident. Even if you take out this weapon, don't expect you to be able to defeat all of us by yourself. I advise you to take care of yourself and stop as soon as possible. I will return this sentence to you intact. If you want to fight, don't a Euro trademark T give me any nonsense and just come over. After Lu Buletin said these words, several people on the opposite side looked at each other and nodded, and then they all took out their weapons and rushed towards Lu Bu. Some people had swords in their hands, and some people had swords in their hands. They wielded knives, and some used hammers. But no matter what weapons these people used, their strength was simply not worth mentioning in front of Lu Buletin. Lu Buletin raised the Fang Tian painted halberd and shouted forward. That kind of the sense of majesty immediately made the people present feel a little scared. Then he swept across the entire army with one move. Fang Tian's painted halberd followed Lu Buletin's arm and knocked down everyone on the opponent's side with just one move. This was just the beginning. In about seconds, all the opponents were defeated by Lu Buletin. With just one move, these people were defeated. Except for Ma Chao, everyone at the scene showed expressions of surprise, and some people couldn't believe it at all. Everything in front of me is blinking constantly to verify whether what I see is real. It was just one move, but you have already fallen down. With such a low level, do you still dare to mock us? Be careful, your Doga Euro trademark's life is in danger. An angry shout frightened everyone present, especially the big men who rushed up just now. Everyone never expected that the man in front of them was so powerful. The people watching the scene were speechless. After speaking, everyone looked very shocked. Lu Buletin stepped forward and snorted coldly. Who else? If you are not convinced, come all together. Just such a sentence, coupled with Fang Tian's painted halberd placed in front of them, immediately stopped everyone at the scene from speaking. After waiting for a long time, no one came to challenge. Just when everyone thought that this matter was over, suddenly a man with a stick jumped on the stage. I'm Lu Mingzi, here to ask for advice. After this person finished speaking, many people in the audience were whispering. Ma Chao was listening to what they said and knew that Lu Mingzi seemed to be a relatively important figure. At least many people at the scene knew him, and he said that he was a very powerful person in martial arts. Lu Buletin also heard such words while standing on the stage, so he was ready to give the opponent a blow. Just when Lu Buletin was about to take action, the opponent continued, wait a minute, there is someone next to me. Request, if I lose this competition, I wonder if I can be allowed to join your section. I like to be around strong people.